Welcome back to Flight Simulator 2020, folks, and I'm Avangel. This is the Blackbox Simulations L-19 Birddog. This is the bush version. Well, you've seen, of course, in the little intro there, there is 3 variants that come with the aircraft. There is the bush version here with chunky bush tyres. We've got a retro, should we say, Warbird, which is the 01 Observer version of the aircraft, which was used in Korea and Vietnam. And we also have the amphibious version, which I'm going to be testing out shortly after this, because the bush version and the Observer, very similar. So, let's have a look inside. So, actually, we'll just pan around the aircraft for a second. Exterior texturing and modelling is nice. Texturing is a little on the simple side. Not the best, perhaps? Kind of a rush job? Or at least it's quite simple. But this is a €25 aircraft, not available in the marketplace as yet. But it is available, of course, in their website, Blackbox Simulations. I will say, though, for how simple the texturing is, it is incredibly effective. Now, maybe I'm just used to the work I used to do in FSX and P3D, where we had to go hardcore to make it look good. But this is simple panel lining, a normal map, and physics-based rendering, giving the material a really good look. So it looks incredibly natural and realistic with very little actual effort. So that's a huge thing in terms of development time and speed. We'll see more aircraft perhaps sooner. Let's go inside. So inside, I have to have my viewpoint zoomed all the way out here to even have a realistic view with partial panel and outside, and it's a little weird. I'm not going to bother with the, up on the cowl view and down on the instrument panels, because it doesn't include those. They're not part of the aircraft, unfortunately, which I'm hoping they'll add with an update and maybe adjust the camera pointing in this thing. Other disappointment is things like the windows do not function. I'm kind of sad about that. The door and windows do not do anything. They just, that's the heads-up part there, they just sit there, which is kind of sad. Actually, kind of disappointed. You'd expect at the very least these windows would actually operate. Also, your co-pilot is visible for one of the first times, and their lovely Asobo t-shirt. Hi there. Okay, so we have no manual with this aircraft, so if there is a way to open doors or add ground extras, it's not easily recognisable. I have no clue. Also, that rearview mirror doesn't work. But it is simple. There are some clunky areas which I think could do with benefiting change, because if we look here, I click on the mags and I go right and they go left. It's opposites. But that's workaroundable. So up here we have, well, down there, observers, radio systems. We have their throttle and stick. We have fuel tank selector, which is set to all, tank level, main radios and navigation radios, audio panel. We have our transponder here. And we have a directional radio there. Some nice little extras. The interior texturing is decent. I'll give them that. It's not bad. Looks alright. Let's start her up, shall we? So battery is on. Fuel boost pump is on. Set mags to both. Come on. Starter engaged. Some items don't necessarily have click spots, which is a little bit troublesome. Let's give it some gas. Come on. Why no want to start up? This is weird. Tank selector right. Come on. There we go. It wanted me to reset that. That's a weird quirk, because it was set to both magnetos and it decided it didn't want to play with them. So, that is awkward. Fuel boost pump is off. Should have had my beacon on already, and strobes, navs, but, well, we're there now. So, flaps are about 25, which is weird because it goes 30, 40, 60. You'll see here, the flaps set to about 25. Then it's basically 40 and 60. So, whether that's parallaxing effect that's throwing off the actual appearance of the instrument being at the right angle, I'm not sure, but it doesn't look like it's all the way at 30. But let's taxi her out and get this thing going. Very loud ground handling sounds, I'll give it that, compared to its engine sound. Very loud ground sounds. Ground handling is decent. It's not the cleanest or sharpest handling, which with the tail drag you'd expect more of, because they actually turn and handle a little bit better, I like to think, than nose-wheel aircraft. Visibility is less, but with such a small one like this, it's okay. Now, the 01E was based on the Cessna 170 line, with the Omnivision rear window that the 172 would later have. And of course it's got the 152 style upper windows, which makes it great for observation purposes. So, let's get ourselves lined up here for the runway. Never flown this before, so it's going to be a little bit of a squirrely flight. Give it some throttle. Oh, the tail is very sensitive. Very sensitive. And we're about to go off the end of this one. Those are bears. Oh my god. Stall horn, we're okay. Not bad short takeoff. They flat. Okay, the trim is incredibly heavy on takeoff. That is not very nice. I have to trim it out very heavily before I can get a stable climb position, even with neutral takeoff trim. With the camera zoomed all the way out, this is actually not bad. But we'll climb up here and we'll swing around. Rudder is very positive. Very positive. A lot of movement. So it's a fixed pitch propeller, so we have no RPM control, of course. That's all done with our throttle. So we're keeping a look at the actual mag value, which I believe should be down here. That's our oil pressure, actually. Where is our mag? Okay, there we go, the bottom. Bottom right down there. Let's trim her out a little bit. Neutralize that with some throttle. So she flies nice and stable. Of course, there's no autopilot or anything like that. That would be way too modern. What do you mean? But she does fly quite nicely. Now, we're going to bring her back down for a landing. Then we're going to go and get the amphibian out and have some real fun. Let's bring her around here. We'll have to probably circle a little bit because this is surprisingly quick from what I've seen so far. We're doing 90 knots right now. Now, of course, the story says 107 knots cruise speed. Not true. If this is the O1E, it should cruise at about 90, 95, much less with the floats. And max speed should be about 100 knots. So unless it's a higher grade engine, I doubt that would be accurate. So there's our runway past that little beach there. So we're going to come out here wide, make a left turn in from base to final. Let's give her some flaps. One of the nice things, you can basically deploy flaps at really any speed. It's not going to hurt anything. So we're going to go in with 40 flaps. Not full flaps. That's not really a good idea. That's normally I'm guaranteeing my landing here. Okay. Rolling round onto final. Aircraft is doing about 63, 64 knots right now. Maybe 65. It's sinking nicely, I'll give it that. Very stable here on approach. Nice feeling. Now, one sad thing is, of course, your custom tail numbers will not show on the aircraft based on what I've seen so far. They're painted on. Not the end of the world, but, you know, would have been nice. Okay. Dodge the bears. Yep, those are goddamn bears. Okay. Hi, Betty. Okay. Looks like going down the tree-lined avenue here. Woo, hello. Okay, you can stop the stall horn now. We're on the ground. This place is a really terrible place to test aeroplanes. This is narrow as crappy as hell. Woo. Doesn't particularly want to nose over on braking application. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, let's try out an amphibian, shall we? Hey folks, so we're now here at Campbell Island, which is one of my favourite airports. Always was in Orbex and in FSX and P3D. And we're going to take off with the amphibious variant, which is this bad boy. Now it comes with a military livery and also this beautiful civilian livery. Nice and simple. We'll do the job just fine. So let's get our baby started. Boost pump, battery. Give me some motion lotion, please. Interesting. Okay, really interesting. Small quirk. Boost pumps off. Okay, so we'll give us some flaps for departure, and we're going to taxi out to the runway here, and we're going to do a little bit of water landings and takeoff. just to see how she behaves. Oh, hello. You're very stiff and unresponsive. Are these castoring nose wheels? This does not want to turn. Come on. Okay, this does not want to turn. Differential braking is barely doing anything. That is really, really unresponsive. Really unresponsive. Come on. That's it. Come on, let's go to the runway. Okay, so they are actually moving, but it's really, 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 really weak. Okay. We should have a lot of runway this way, so we're just going to take off this way. Oh, no, we don't. That's going to be awkward. You have to turn it around somehow. So we have runway that way. Okay. So we'll taxi up here, and I'll somehow work out how to turn this pig around. Let's do just that. Now, I recall this runway being a lot longer. Like, down there longer. Come on. Stand on the brakes and give it some gas. Man, that's stiff. Okay. That is very stiff. Right, let's go. Now, if there's some sort of ground steering on this, I don't know, but that's horrible. Keep an eye on our speed here. 60 knots, or miles an hour. Ease it off the runway. Gear is up. Flaps coming up. Now I'm not seeing any kind of indicator for my gear being up or down on the amphibian, which is kind of dangerous. No, looking around I don't see anything there. So that's a visual reference of make sure it's up and know what state your crap is in. So I know mine is currently up. I also don't know where the gear lever is. Oh, hello, we rolled a little bit too much there. Okay, so that is... Oh no, we're at Denny Island, that's why it's short, that's why it's small. Okay, we're at Denny Island, not Campbell Island, which is across the water. That's why it's short and looking disused. I was at the wrong version of Campbell Island, or Bella Bella, I should say. Yeah, because that's the approach there over the hill. That is the former airport, no longer actively used. The actual one is over there. So we're going to bring it in on a nice gentle approach to the water here. And just land here in this bay. Yeah, the view is definitely restrictive, I'd say. More so than I'd actually like to expect. Because so many other aircraft have much, much better visibility. Now this is post the Japan updates, so there have been some changes to what is shown around water masks. In some places, you can see the reflections there looking quite nice. Okay, let's give her some flaps. We'll just gently fly it down with 40 flaps, I think. And we'll see how it behaves. Trim is still very sensitive on this aircraft, but it does trim out well. Oh, hello, there we go. Okay, bringing it down now. And we'll see just how well this behaves. Water's kind of glassy today, so that's a problem. Oh, God. No, just give it some throttle. It's very hard to tell what the numbers are. I've not looked up any of the performance figures for stall speeds. Probably should do that in future. Let's just keep some throttle on while I approach the water. It's a lot more visible now. Okay. Try to keep my eye on the Lindbergh reference here for my altitude. Roller wings level. Don't want to dig a float in. Seems to stall quite easily. Ooh, yeah. Little choppy here. Now, one thing that's very disappointing still with 2020 is there's no real kind of... Okay, there's a little bit of wake now, maybe. They didn't used to be anything. That's kind of crappy, if I'm honest. Now, it could be this particular aircraft, it could be something else, but it's not really generating an actual real wake or any spray. Now, I believe those are not actioning right now. And there's no control of the cabin for our water rudders that I could tell. There isn't. So, we're going to pull the flaps in here and we're going to go for a takeoff and we'll land at Campbell Island. So, take you off of water, you're pulling back initially. Get the nose up. Whoa, hello. Push it forward slightly, get on the step. Allow speed to build up. This is very bumpy. Okay, its water handling is not ideal for what I'd like to see, but it's not terrible. It might just take some getting used to, but it's certainly a bit of a pig when it comes to water. Stalls very easily, speeds are awkward, handling close to the water is difficult. When it actually touches down, it's a little unstable. So we're going to roll her in here and just land at Campbell Island. We still have 30 flaps deployed, so we'll come in with 30 flaps, see how that behaves. See if it will fly onto the runway any better. It's the village of Bella Bella. Okay, let's trim her down. Let the thing fly down. Now I'm going to try and keep it about 60 knots for my, or miles an hour I should say, for my approach this time, because it's miles an hour on the speedo. Hi little village. Been a while since I've been here. Zoom me in now, which is annoying because it's really kind of hard to do anything when you've got so much restricted visibility compared to real life flying, where you can, your eyes have a wider field of view, you can glance your eyes around a little bit faster. Okay, so we're coming about 18 miles an hour here. A little bit of a steeper approach. We'll let it kind of fly down, seeing as it likes to dump its speed pretty quickly. There we go. And drop her in here. Little fast, but we'll coast down here. Try and land slight flare because of the float, so don't want to flare too much. There we go. Now the question is here, because I stopped so quickly, didn't have my wheels down. Yep. Well, that was interesting. I didn't scrape along though, so that's an interesting contact point issue there. Is that it didn't scrape, there was no scraping sounds, the contact point is clearly somewhere in the middle of the float, which could be why it behaved so weirdly getting on the step and why it was so weird on landing. Interesting plane, definitely a work in progress. I look forward to seeing any updates from them. Obviously not being the content manager, I'm going to have to keep track of that myself, but hopefully we'll see a difference to that in the future. It's good. Is it worth 25 euros? Not yet. Well, after that, interesting landing. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. Not an expert in this plane, like I've said. I am pretty familiar with bush flying, float planes, all the likes. A lot of the quirks I've noticed you may not agree with. But at the same time, these are my opinions. This is what I think. And is this alright? Do I regret it? No. Would I again? Not sure. Thanks for watching. Bye.